Hello and welcome to All Killer No Filler Fridays, our very special Good Friday Easter edition where we have lots of goodies for everyone out there in the Facebook marketing world. Today, we're going to be talking about Facebook's Messenger tool and some of the evolutions that it's gone through lately. We're going to be talking about what you do when a client says, let's hit the gas here. We've got a 3-month window. We're going to try to really scale up. So we're going to talk about the process that we go through when we do that. We're going to be talking about creative refreshes as part of that. We're going to be, of course, doing a follow-up on our lifetime budget section from last time, as well as a follow-up on polls. Welcome to All Killer No Filler Fridays, guys. How you doing?
Good. Really good.
Fantastic on these quarantine days. So let's start with Facebook Messenger here. What are we seeing with Facebook Messenger, and how are we using it with some of our clients?
Full disclosure, we've definitely tested in the past. We've seen kind of mixed results. We've used all the different tools, MiniChat, some of the native tools, but basically we're doing a revisit on something that our rep has kind of suggested. We're seeing success with a few different clients on quizzes, and so what they brought up was, why not build the quiz into a Messenger ad campaign, and basically shared that it's really advanced lately. There's a lot of new features, a lot of cool things you can do within it, and they're having other agencies and clients seeing really decent results from it. So we're about to get into testing it, so we're not quite there yet, but this weekend we should have our first test launch on the new format. And basically, looks pretty straightforward. I was playing around with it this morning. It's similar to what it used to be. Select messenger objective, then a click to message ad. But basically, you can also do an objective of generating leads. So this is the big thing. One huge advantage of messenger ads is it auto populates Facebook information, profile information into the flow. So you can go through a quiz, then jump right into your lead format, and you get name, email, all that kind of stuff. They also have completion reminders, disqualifying questions now, privacy policy, all that kind of stuff. You can hook up this, your CRM, and make sure you customize fields so that it integrates properly. And the last thing, thank you message, put in your offer URL, and track everything that you can track with normal Facebook campaigns. So unlike MiniChat, you have it all natively in Facebook. You're not just optimizing and launching campaigns to get messages. You're optimizing to leads, and then you can track purchases, ROAS, everything else. So we're really excited to get this off the ground. I think it can be a big campaign for growth here for some of our clients.
And then in terms of the ads you run with Messenger, what are some of the differences with how you position the ad? So instead of driving to a landing page, obviously the call to action becomes to start conversation. So you really have to be kind of leading people in to want to have a conversation with whatever you're promoting, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think, traditionally that's what Messenger ads have kind of been, but you can really kind of mask it as, not mask it, but like present it as a quiz. And so it's less about starting a conversation or a message and more just a funnel natively within the platform. So your call to action doesn't have to be send a message. It can be learn more, go from there. And you just go through the flow without, instead of a landing page, you go through it in the Messenger platform, and kind of go from there.
I've been following MiniChat and a lot of the people doing MiniChat marketing, and sort of continually getting having roadblocks put in front of them in terms of features being degraded, or just basically the maturation of the messenger market, where it's getting harder to it's becoming less of the Wild West with messenger marketing. And it's interesting to see Facebook building up this tool so that It's going to be interesting. You think MiniChat will be relevant, and tools like MiniChat will continue to be relevant as Messenger continues to improve its offering?
I mean, maybe not. I think one of the big things, just to finish this off, is like, Facebook's always watching these outside third-party tools, and they're taking all the best parts and building them internally, right? And sometimes they do it well, sometimes they don't. But the biggest advantage is, when they build it, they kind of integrate it into their algorithm and prioritize it and reward people for using it. So, even if it's not doing everything ManyChat can do, like, you can pretty much guarantee you're going to be able to optimize better and feed the pixel a lot better. So that's kind of my big takeaway.
One thing to add there, Eric, to your point, I think there's a concern in my mind about regulation. Unlike email, Facebook's coming in, and same with ManyChat, it's preventing you from being able to hit your list in ways that you want to. And so I just see that as a concern that Stern, we're going to have to find out how to navigate. I know in the past we've invested in one case over 10 grand in building up this messenger list, and we were able to continuously make drops to it, but we found we were coming up against roadblocks. So let's stay in tune with what the latest is there, and how it competes with spending that same 10 grand building up an email list.
Totally. Yeah.
Nice. And we will update as we go on. Sorry, excuse me. So
you're right, bud.
Yeah, I'm all right. I don't have the Rona. I'm good. Let's talk about our next topic, which is one of the ways, one of the things that I really want to talk about is what we do when a client says, okay, let's hit the gas. But before that, before we talk about taking something and really scaling it, let's talk about what happens. How do you know when a brand needs a creative refresh, and what's the process we go through in order to really sort of kickstart a new campaign with a new creative approach?
Yeah, I can speak a little bit to that. I mean, I think it's really, a lot of people don't seem to really remember. It's really easy once you get a campaign crushing, it's going, it's making money. You kind of forget that the creative you have is going to stop working, or it's only hitting a certain audience and that kind of thing. So, we see a lot of brands that have come in, their performance has started to lack, and all it really takes is a really, full court press, get in there, new creative angle, new creative types to really get the campaign back. Just this week, we had a campaign for about a month. It was break even. And we got the team in there. We did a big brainstorm session. We set up, I guess I could talk about the process. We basically set up a CBO campaign with 5 to 15 ad sets. Each ad set is a different angle. And it doesn't have to be a totally different angle, but a different creative type. So one might be, pictures of women. One might be pictures of the product. One might be videos of the product, unboxing, so on. We set some minimum budgets in the CBO ad sets themselves. In the advanced settings, if people don't know this, you can set minimum, maximum budgets for each ad set. So you can kind of run it like before, prior to CBO. And what we do is we just let it run for a few days at, $500 budget, something like there, and see what Facebook starts to find. And once you find those pockets and it's quick and dirty, it takes, an hour or 2 hours to set this up. You can start taking the winners, splitting them out, set up them in their own campaigns, and really build out a back end funnel on top of that.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Anyone else chiming in on creative refreshes?
Yeah. Another approach to it is sometimes when you put new creative in, it works for a little while and then it burns out, right? And so you need to build a process for how are we going to constantly create new creative in a way that the creative is actually meaningful. One example a client we've been working with is using is reaching out to their customer base, offering Amazon gift cards in exchange for, photo or video, of them using the product. Whether that be a testimonial or even just a still of them, holding the product with a smile. And every time we receive back that content, we're able to put that up as a new ad. And again, like Jeff had said, kind of mixing and matching how we're putting it in the system, whether that's through a dynamic creative, carousel of those customer photos or just a straight static or a video. And just by having that constant source of new creative, we find that we're hitting that peak you get from inserting new creative more regularly, and it kind of creates this new norm.
And Dave, it's surprising too, just how many people or customers are actually willing to do that. Like it's saving us a hell of a lot of time in terms of, you know, comms back and forth with our client, but also it's saving resources on development time. And so speed to market is quite fast doing this. We're getting dozens and dozens and dozens of people submit their photo with the product every single day. And so it's definitely worth it. If you think about a $20 Amazon gift card compared to even the hour to communicate with your client, or the 4 hours it's going to take your dev, like the gift card alone is going to save you money.
Totally.
Yeah,
and it goes back
Good point.
to something Vin was saying in the last from Smoothie Box in the last conversation that we had. That ability to create things within your funnel, like if you've got you know, an email drip going out to people, ask them for feedback on the product. Ask people to take a survey if they've already bought some of your product, and then really use what you learn, the language that they use to describe your product. His idea was talk about what your life was like before our product, talk about what your life was like after our product, and then really use that language in your creative refresh as well.
Yeah, you can really source new angles altogether just from UGC and from reviews. I know, like Dave last podcast was talking about the big fat juicy steaks on the lunch boxes, and that was our best performing creative, right? And that came from some woman just saying big fat juicy steaks in her review, I think.
Nice. So listen to your customers and don't be afraid to use their language. Okay, so let's talk about what we do when a client says hit the gas. This just happened. One of our big clients really wants to take advantage of the sale that's on for traffic right now. And they are a very inspiring client, and they just say, all right, here, we're scaling this to the moon. Let's go. What are the steps the Pilot House takes to do that?
Literally, just to give it some perspective, spending 10 grand a day, and then overnight he says, okay, let's spend 50 grand.
Exactly.
Okay.
Scramble the jets. What do we do?
Yeah, scramble the jets. Totally.
So what do we do?
I'll go. So you're only able to scale that fast if you have some core stuff already set up. So you know, with this client in particular, we have tested a variety of pre-sales pages. I think, you know, up to 100 variations. So we do have some campaigns that are organized, and so we kind of know what data is good and kind of where we can apply pressure. But there's some other things that we can do too. Running multiple brands, or running, like, so there's different ways to scale. Of course, there's campaign structures and duping and finding different audiences, but there's other ways too. And maybe Dave could speak a little bit about the specifics on another client, but, you know, sometimes for some brands, we'll run 2 or 3 different Facebook pages with running, the main product, obviously targeting on their main Facebook page and main accounts, but also we'll do kind of review sites or comparison sites and things like that. And, you know, we'll run, you know, 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 of those at a time to get some real scale.
It's nice to keep the audience involved, because the audience might get hammered with your main brand. Let's say it's Pilot House. Pilot House is hitting them with ads, and all of a sudden they've seen Pilot House enough. They're kind of sick of seeing the same ads. And if you can hit it from that other angle, like Kyle was saying, like a review, or I mean, it has to be done compliantly, obviously. There's FTC regulations there in terms of saying advertorial and all that kind of stuff. But you can do that through creating your own brands, but also working with partner brands. So, like, you know, working with influencers or actual other review sites, like real review sites, and you use their pages, get control of their pages to allow you to advertise on their behalf, to kind of hit people from all different angles.
Nice. What else do we do when the client says hit the gas? I know we reach out to Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things, I think, Kyle, you touched on it for a second there on the campaign side, is we basically test all formats. So min ROAS, bid cap, lifetime, you know, we touched on that last week. Basically having all the tools, you know, deployed. You know, some will work one day, some won't work the other day. But when you're running at scale, you need to kind of pull out all the stops and be able to toggle as many switches as you can. That also includes on the account side too. If you have 3 or 4 accounts, you'll find that day to day they'll each perform differently, and so having multiple accounts will allow you to you know, divert budget from one to the other accordingly and hit those goals. So, you know, the big kind of play here is really having as much at your arsenal as possible. And if you don't, then you're really not going to be able to scale 5x.
So have your shit together and then throw a lot of shit at the wall.
Basically, yeah. I think one of our buyers said it the best, and it's obviously a lot more strategic than this, but huck and pray. That's kind of the goal here.
I think it's about having options open, right? I mean, if you have everything live and you have, you use the surfing method or whatever, and one day this campaign in this account, so one of, 30 campaigns in one of the 3 accounts is crushing, you can go ahead and triple budgets in a day. And because you have that set up already, that's going to allow you to scale a hell of a lot faster than trying to quickly scramble to set up a new account, especially if an account gets flagged or something like that, which, obviously we keep things as compliant as humanly possible, but every once in a while the algorithm gets angry and it auto bans an account, and then we have to go get it back. And that's a 3-day downtime, right? So having that backup or having those other accounts set up as safeties is super important as well.
Jeff, that's really interesting too, kind of that bridging that conversation into Facebook. So like when we're scaling, our reps are aware of the ad accounts, so they know what's going on for the most part. And there's other things that you can do too, like credit facilities. So if you need to obviously approve your accounts for a certain spend threshold, but there's ways that you can actually kind of get through the compliance loopholes on scaling quickly by having your account actually on credit, with Facebook having visibility into kind of what you're doing. And so you can, I don't know how that's possible through Messenger. Obviously you can get your budgets up, but it does take some time. But if you can work towards building a good relationship with Facebook, then it becomes a little bit easier.
Yeah, let's talk about relationships with Facebook. There's been some interesting things that have come up this week, specifically with Facebook being Facebook's in the same situation that we're all in a lot of ways. They see what's happening in the economy. They know that their inventory is going up. They know that some advertisers are coming off the platform. So they're incentivizing their reps to go out and really work with their top clients. Like, one of the themes that I see with Facebook again and again is they want their advertisers, they want everyone to have a good experience with their platform. And so they're really keen on working with good agencies that bring on good advertisers, that service those advertisers well. And so it's a really good idea to build a relationship with Facebook, obviously, so that they will look to you when these opportunities come up. Can we talk a little bit about what we're seeing with what Facebook's doing?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll jump in real quick. I also wanted to sort of bridge this from that last conversation about the multiple ad accounts and entities really as a way to scale. What we also find is that we can spread the aggressiveness across multiple ad accounts, although they're typically all considered within one organization from Facebook's perspective. What we find is that different pages have different page scores, right? On Facebook, a page has a score of the customer's opinion of that page, and that can fluctuate, right? If you're running, obviously a little bit more aggressive content, you might see your page score dip. And we find that through that relationship with Facebook, we're really able to, get as much insight in the page as possible to know, hey, when we need to, pull back and really run it a little safer. And we actually do see that page score come right back up to where it needs to be. And typically that page score does reflect your CPM. So you do need to be careful. Facebook certainly penalizes, a lower page score. And so constantly looking at that metric and then applying that actually to how you're managing creative.
And just the word aggressive. So like in this industry, that could be taken the wrong way. It's like a listicle versus a product page. So like in our case, like a listicle is something that's aggressive, like, 7 ways to save money while at home. Like that's aggressive to Facebook. And so that's kind of the terminology that we're referencing there.
Cool. Good clarification.
Yeah, no worries.
Nice. Yeah. And so Jeff, can you speak a little bit about the Facebook relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I think the key is like everyone watching this is either going to have a rep or not have a rep. And the ones that have a rep are going to be like, okay, cool. Like I'm going to hit them up about what we're talking about. Or the other ones are going to be like, well, how the fuck do I get a rep? And that's the tough part. That's really the tough part in this industry, working with Facebook. It is hard to get reps. And it just like, if I can, give any advice, it's don't be super shady, run normal stuff, and you're going to have to get to some decent sized budgets before you get anywhere. You're going to have to start spending a couple $1,000 a day before anyone's going to really reach out and start saying, hey, I'm interested. Like we've had reps come through clients. We've had reps come just out of the blue just because a certain BM is spending a lot. We've had product level BM or reps. We've had agency level reps, and they're all different based on what you do. But in terms of our relationship with our rep, it's great. We have multiple reps. We have some in, we have definitely some based in the US. We have some based in other countries where we do some work as well. And each of those reps has different ways of helping us. So, you know, with our US rep, we generally have a few weekly calls for our, you know, some of our top strategic clients. They come in, they help us. They'll actually give us, you know, access to beta features that are coming out. They'll give us a rundown of what's coming out that we can then go tell our clients to try and scale it. You know, they give us some inside resources that we end up signing NDAs for that we obviously can't share, which is pretty cool. And it's really, you know, over time when you can get a rep that at that level, it's pretty helpful for sure.
Very cool. The other thing that I would say too that I found is that it helps. It's just like Facebook likes when you use all of their ad units, for instance. Someone that I was talking to has built a really unique and powerful relationship with Facebook by being a high power agency, but also they've really deepened the relationship by building on their API and actually building with the developer side of the business. So it's another way just to sort of deepen that relationship. You know, you're not going to just start building a tool for the sake of your relationship with Facebook, but if you're oriented towards building on the Facebook API, that's also going to help your relationship.
You're going to get a rep as long as you're doing what Facebook wants you to do, which is make sure you're giving their people on the platform a great user experience. That's it. And you're spending money. It has like the dollars have to make sense, and it has to be a good user experience. So if you're putting a bunch of ads up that are obviously pushing the boundaries of you know whether Facebook's going to like it, you're not going to get a rep. It's just not going to happen.
The other thing too, I feel like there's a mandate. It's like it's shifted a little bit in the last, even before all this COVID stuff. There's been more effort from Facebook. There's a Facebook marketing partner program. There's you know, they're sending out boxes of swag for accounts that have big client spending and things like that. And so you can tell they have an agenda to onboard agencies that are working directly with clients. You can feel it. So if you're doing the right stuff right now, you know, get into the marketing program, build the partnerships up. It might take time, but you can do it, I think.
Nice. Okay, we got about 5 minutes left on All Killer No Filler. Let's do a quick update on a few of the things we talked about last week, and then we'll finish off by talking about some of the ideas that we're really excited about in the space right now. So what's going on with lifetime budgets? We dropped this nugget. It was something we learned from Josh Elizeche, Josh Snow, as he goes by, and it made a direct impact on all our campaigns. We shared it across the communities. A lot of people are using this. A lot of people are seeing success with it. How did it work for us this week, quickly?
I can speak to a little bit on the stuff that I'm helping manage. So we have some accounts that are absolutely crushing with it. Like our daily budgets just can't beat it. But that being said, we have other accounts that aren't seeing the same boost. And I think it's important to remember that, you know, lifetime budgets, although it's a great thing, like it's definitely a great thing to test. And I think there's various reasons for why it works better. It's not a magic bullet. It's not going to magically make all your campaigns 1,000% better. So not a magic bullet, but definitely give it a go.
Jeff, question. Are the ad accounts that are working, are they older? Are they newer than the ones that aren't?
I'd have to talk to the guys. We definitely have, well, one we tested on a brand new account was absolute garbage compared to the daily.
Right.
It's been live for maybe a few months.
Yeah, right.
The other one's pretty old. Yeah.
So just test.
No idea. But I know on one of our other larger clients, we tested lifetime in a few different ways. We tried a 1 week, 1 day, 2 week, and we didn't see the same pop off that we did on some of the other accounts.
And we had someone on the ad buyers group even taking the Kung Fu one level deeper and actually talking about leveraging time zones to really try to force the spend during prime hours. That's not something we've tested yet, I guess, eh? Shout out to Dave Hoffman.
I have not tested that, no.
Nice.
Just as an update on the first one that we tested on, it's still crushing. CPAs are still, 60% of what the daily is. So we're going hard on that one.
And then just very quick updates on poll ads and our comment strategy. Dave, you got anything on that?
Yeah, well, I think specific with comment strategy, I'm gonna defer the quantifiable outcome here till perhaps next week. in terms of tracking those UTM parameters and actually being able to prove it out in terms of sales. But certainly I've gone back through and looked at, all the additional posts we put, or I should say comments we put. And as an author, when you comment on your own post, that will automatically pin it to the top. And it's actually starting to create conversations now, right? Replies to that comment. And then of course the brand then comes in and has a real conversation. So that's cool in terms of sort of a soft metric. But as I say, going to need a bit more time to quantify it out.
Nice. Okay, with our last 2 minutes, let's talk about the kinds of offers we're seeing kind of come out of the woodwork, the offers that we're really excited about working with. What are the products that are setting the world on fire right now? Bad choice of words.
Bread makers.
Bread makers. I see everyone's making bread.
Anything focused on staying home. I'm still bullish that divorce lawyers and mental health facilities are going to go crazy after this or during this, for sure.
Yeah. Kids books. I have a child, and trying to be a teacher as well as a marketer is a mad challenge. Just anything that can keep my kid occupied that I feel good about using.
Right.
Good. The other thing I'm really keen on is stuff that people like. There's this idea that the economy's bad right now, or it's trending bad, but then it's going to rebound, and people are going to eat at meals, eat out twice as much, or you're going to want to go outside twice as much. So I'm excited for products as well that sort of like set the tone for what life is going to be like after. Like you're going to love going to the beach as soon as you're able to. So here's what you got to do to enjoy it.
So the trick is just knowing like how to time that out, right? It's like Trudeau, we're Canadian, but Trudeau, I think, Jeff, you said yesterday, he said it was another 4 months of isolation minimum for us.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows?
Who
More
knows?
bread makers.
It's seeing, what I think is exciting is just generally seeing the companies that are adapting to this and thriving. Like there's restaurants that are now kind of filling that gap of the retailization. I don't know how the hell you say that of like food chains, food supplies. So like if they get a bunch of lettuce, you can't just sell that. You can't put that in a grocery store. It needs to go to a place to actually turn it into a packageable good. And restaurants are starting to take that role and then send it out to customers, which I think is so cool. No idea how that plays in the online space, but super cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on today, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Easter weekend, and we will be back in the saddle on Monday. Cheers.
Thanks, buddy.
Sounds
See
good.
you guys.
See you later. Bye.